Hello, hello, hello. All right, welcome back. Apologies for not streaming on Tuesday, but we're actually going to see a bit of that coming forward. I should be able to stream next Tuesday. So in what are we looking at here? In 5 days, I should be able to get a stream in there, but for the next week after that, I will not be around. I will actually be on a trip to Vancouver. So the next Thursday and the following Tuesday, I will not be available for stream. So in 2 weeks from now, I should be back, but I'm still going to be here for next Tuesday as well. So we should be good to go. Excuse me. Actually, I'm going to start this stream in my standing position. I was going to do seated today, but I think it'll be good to get some air in these lungs based on how I'm feeling right now. All right. So since I didn't stream on Tuesday, I did a little bit of work on this over honestly, just kind of like earlier today, just to get things started up. And if we're going to look at stuff here, let's start things around. All right, so we have our base game system, which is our generic game system that we inherit from everything else. And our assign roles goes down here. It gathers all the roles and assigns it to everyone. Now, what this does is this calls set role and team. So there's two numbers that are important for starting a game. It's your current role and your current team. So this just calls this on the owner of whichever player this is. So let's say John. We're setting their role and team. We set these values there, and that runs. And then what that does is we have our entity info menu, which is like your little nameplate above you. And that has the role ID, the name, the color, the visibility, and which team you are on, and updates it correctly based on that. Now, we only want to update the visibility if the local armory entity has already been assigned for their team. Actually, that's a good point. Local armory entity is assigned very early on. What we want to instead check is their team ID. So yeah, we need to not check to see if it's null. We're going to set see if their team ID equals -1. So if their team is currently unset, we don't want to do anything. And basically, we're just going to wait one more second and check again. The reason I'm doing this is because everyone in the game is told, hey, these are your these are your teams, these are your rules. So at the start of the game, when you get people's updated information on what team and what role they have, you want to set their nameplates and stuff to be visible only if it's a role that you can actually see. So let's say a trouble terrorist down or something like that. You want only the detective to be seen to everyone. You want traitors to be visible to each other, and you want innocents to be visible to no one, because who's innocent, who's traitor, stuff like that. But in order to have this visibility be correct, we need to actually have a team ID set. So this is just a wrapper for some safety stuff, given just unexpected network traffic. Just make sure everything's loaded up, and then keep trying if not. But yeah, I've got this working in a test environment here. So actually, what I can do here is, well, once Unity's done compiling, I'll actually switch to Excuse me. I will switch to my display capture instead of my auto switching one. What this is going to do is it's going to let y'all see exactly what happens when I launch 4 of these clients up. Excuse me. So what we're testing here is there should be 1 detective, 1 traitor, at least 1 innocent, and a 50% chance of there being a Mike. Mike is just my generic other role that I was trying out. Alright, I'm gonna hit go on all of these. So the one on our top right, this will be the actual game owner and stuff. New bundle to open. I will deal with that later. Alright, so everyone has to walk into the lobby box here. This person presses play. And nothing works. Okay. That's a good sign. Alright, let's figure out what happened. It's not dependent on who clicked it. Man, I had this working earlier. I guess the only thing that I've changed since the last time I set this up was this section here, where I am verifying the team ID. That's actually curious, because we're not getting any errors. Yeah, none of these are errors. Let's just make sure that we're listening for Udon changes. Udon sharp output log watch disabled. Ooh. Oh. Well, maybe it wasn't listening for errors. It used to be. Alright, let us rejoin. If somebody knows a hotkey for rejoining your current instance without verification, let me know. Alright, now that we have error logging on, let's have everyone run up into the little lobby area. Presses it. Oh, it worked this time, I think. Yeah, so I see them as the detective. Oh, but I only see them. I don't see... Okay, the traitors see each other. Okay, well... Why didn't it work last time? Yeah, okay. So, the detective over here, they can see themselves, and they can't see anyone else's role. The traitors can both see each other's role, and they can see the detective role. They cannot see the innocent. And the innocent over here, they can see the detective, and not themselves, which is not correct. So, let's see what is happening there. Let's actually go into unit here. Let's check armory player. Yeah, team ID defaults to -1. Role team, role name. Alright, let's just start adding some more logging, because something's obviously going wrong. Log warning. Index. Alright. Its current index was out of range for available rolls. Where else could things fail? I guess we can log for this. Debug, log warning, local team ID, not set. Waiting 1 second. I'm still curious about this situation, because this person locally has the same team ID. So oh, okay. So if role visibility none, okay. It needs to be visible to the local player. All right. I just straight up didn't have it set here. So So these health bars can be appended to any possible entity armory entity, which can be an NPC. So there's an inherited class for armory and entity NPC and armory player player. So the issue is I can't just check whether or not the target entity is the local player. I guess this is how that gets done. How do I want to do that? Because that's a big loop of a bunch of stuff. How many places are doing that? Ba, 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 ba. All right. In that case, let's go back to our is this just for fun, or are you playing, trying to make a whole game later on? Just one. Welcome. So what this is this is a project that I'm calling VRC Armory, and it's generally meant to be a combat game builder. So this will be available on my Patreon, and the development versions of it are actually available already. But the idea is, if you want to have a game like Murder or TTT or Ghost or one of those other VR chat worlds where there's a bunch of guns or weapons available, there's team handling, and the game can be started, it can be stopped, there's different roles players can have. That's a very complicated system for anyone who wants that kind of thing to build. And the idea with this project is to build something that is drag and drop. If somebody wants to put Murder into their world, they can just do that. They can just put the prefab in, tell it where the spawn positions are, tell it where the spawn positions for weapons are, or things like that, and it should just work. But I want to have a bunch of customization in as well. So there's a lot going into getting this specific set working, and there's a big focus on optimization for that reason in particular. But yeah, we do have weapons largely working. we do have the role handling largely working as well. In this example here, the local player actually can't see their role because it's a role that is invisible to everyone, which is just generic innocent. But that needs to not be the case. There's actually the little issue that we ran into there briefly. So if we're looking at this player menu, we want to how do we want it? So if role visibility is none, we need to enable it for the local player. So I guess we can do, yeah. The fact we have static functions but not static variables makes some things a little annoying. So I can't just do like armory player.local. I have to do a get local, which passes the local player ID through this loop that then grabs a player, checks to see if the player is valid, loops through all player objects that the player owns, looks for components, and if it's real, it returns it. Which is not the most efficient thing to do every time I want to get the local player. I would love to be able to cache it in a static reference, but what we're doing right here is okay, so we have a team manager that's doing all of our stuff, and that has a local armory entity on it. So I guess I can just rename this to local. It should be easier. Set local. Yeah, okay. So in that case, let's go ahead and we can leave this here for now, but for the most part, we'll just be comparing our actual local player that's stored in the team manager. So I need to go to the any stat info here. For this one, I want to do like I think I'll bite the bullet and just put a bool in this one for public void. Public bool is local. And we'll have a serialized field for protected bool. And this will just return is local. And this will get set during when will that get set? Yeah, okay. Armor player. Is local equals true. Okay, so we can just do our comparisons that way. That sounds quite complex, but pretty neat. I assume this would be a Unity package drop-in or something. I think would be cool is in-game world editor. Possible. Well, one thing that I do want to have is like a menu that gives you settings of like, we never want the jester to be enabled. Or we want 4 jesters to show up, or something like that. Something to let you customize all of those settings for the different roles that appear in game. And I think that should be plenty doable. And if I really wanted to scope creep this project, I could absolutely build a tool that lets you place like like spawn points and stuff in your environment, and then output that to a text file, and then you then put that into your Unity project and it loads everything up in the right spots. But realistically, I think that will be best suited for someone doing that in Unity itself. Yeah, I'm glad you're interested. All right, entity info menu. Here we go. We want to check if target entity that is local. We'll rename this to is local player. There we go. All right, let's see what happens. Right, okay, what is this error? Oh, let me just set this here. Text file, why wouldn't you try using world persistence instead if you were to actually do that for us? Oh, because if you, I guess if your idea was to build out the game system that one player gets to use, then that might make sense. But if the idea is to build a version of the game that actually gets uploaded and used by everyone, then like persistence wouldn't really help people that weren't in your instance. You could certainly use persistence to remember the previous settings of the stuff like that. Forgot about the fact it's local for persistence. Yeah. One thing that I could try setting up is I could use persistence to store strings of the data that someone has set up for their customization. Like, say, if we want to play John's version of Murder, where there were always 6 traders or something like that, then it would be possible to go ahead and just store that as a loadable string from their player persistence. And then if John goes in and loads the game, they can select that preset from their persistence and be able to go from there. I'm going to put that down. That is a very future feature and not one for today, but I like that idea. Store game settings as persistent presets. I like it. You know what else I like? Water. Stay hydrated. It's pretty warm out there right now. All right. Let's go ahead and I'll swap back to my display capture. I'll flip this to build and reload. And we can go ahead and make sure that this is properly working. Oh, let me select these. Why is it hiding? Player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. Alright, we have detective, and we have role name, which is not a good sign, which means I broke something. Role name here doesn't actually have anything. The two traders seem to see each other correctly. Yeah. So what seems to be screwed up is that the innocent role doesn't see their local label, and for other people, it's not loaded. So let's look at what could do that. Ah, okay. I have this backwards. So if target entity is local player, show role is false, which is exactly the backwards version of what we want for that. So let's go ahead and do show role and just pass in is local player. I hope that VRC might implement in-game world building at some point, even if it were just tied to the home world, where you could build whatever you want. Unfortunately, I know they probably won't. That's something that isn't impossible with persistence these days, and I think there's some customization in one of the worlds. I don't remember which. But my understanding is that would be like a completely possible thing to do with Udon just today. Someone just has to build that kind of system. I actually was working on a kind of prop placement system a while back, and I know a few people that are doing that as well independently, but I don't know of anyone that's I don't know of that being implemented on VR chat on a broader scale. Excuse me. But who knows? My guess is we're going to have some big differences coming with the addition of what's it called? The inventory system that has given everyone a cube, and I'm sure will give people much more things in the future. All right, detective. Detectives sees no one's names. The trader. The traders both see each other's name. And, well, the innocent sees a role name, but no one else sees it. Let's actually go to... Alright. So we want show false here, and here we're going to have to do display role. Though I think display role calls show role, so we don't need that. We can drop these brackets for a bit of abbreviation. So it's basically the same check here as here, only instead of checking whether the local team ID is their this player's team, is checking whether or not this is the local player. I think the inventory system is cool, but I have a feeling they may attempt to monetize it somehow. And they have been quite focused on profit recently. Well, seeing as VRChat as a company probably has never been profitable and has been around for 10 years, I'm not too surprised that they're trying to find ways of making money. But I'm glad it all seems to be supplemental stuff. They're not, like, blocking your ability to use VR as opposed to desktop by a paywall or the likes. They're not taking away existing features. They're simply finding new ones that they can add that kind of support in for. Completing Tobin. Come on, Unity. Let me go. There we go. Alright. And now we wait. There we go. Go ahead, click, 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 click. Oh. 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 And go. Alright. 2 traders, a Mike, and a detective. That's a little unfortunate that we got the 50-50 chance of having Mike show up. So we'll have to re-roll this one. Actually didn't expect that to be an issue at all. Mike is a joke roll I have that's visible to everyone. And then donk. Alright, well this person appears to be the innocent. So if we go over here. Aha, they locally look innocent. Perfect. We've done it. We have that whole system working as expected. Let's actually look in Unity and see if we're getting any logs from anything. We don't seem to be, which is good. Which means none of the error situations are happening. Good. I like that. I like not having issues. Ah. Alright, well, since our role loading is working completely fine now, let's go ahead and close our VRChat clients. I'll swap back to my auto switcher. And from here, we can work on actually building the game system. So I'm gonna pretty much close out of everything here, except for TDM game system and base game system. TDM is Team Deathmatch. That's the one that I thought was probably going to be the easiest one to get up and working, because it's 2 teams, obvious labels. When one of the teams is fully dead, then the game is over. So it's going to be a very easy one to build out the base systems for. So like looking over here, I don't have an implementation for end game. End game just doesn't do anything. So this is the kind of thing that will help me out when figuring out what the actual implementation is going to be. So let's think about what Team Deathmatch is. There are 2 teams by default. Let's just do like blue and orange. Sure. Actually, I guess I can go ahead and actually set that up here. So let's go to our team manager. Team manager has our team data asset. This is just our TTT one. So let's go ahead and make a new one. Team data, do TTM, TDM. So for team data, team deathmatch. All right, we will have 2 teams. We'll have orange, which is just gonna be up here. No, I want that to be more orange than brown. There we go. And just have a player. Just an idea for the future. How about something like Overwatch and Marvel Rivals? TDM but ability based. Well, one of the things that this does is this lets you have different roles. So instead of just having a team, we can have different roles inside of that team. So right now, there's just a generic player, but you can have like healer. And what one of these systems will do is it'll enable objects depending on you. But for right now, we're just going to have the one option. So we'll just call this player orange. They don't need a role color because they'll just inherit from this one. And we can duplicate it and call this one blue. And blue, there we go. Swap this one over to... Yeah, these feel like good orange and blue options. So these are just both set to be visible to all players. So let's go in here. Let's go to our team manager. Let's swap that out from TTT to TDM. And let's clear out our... Whoops. Clear out our customization here. See someone using the system with RPG world potentially as well. Yeah, it would really be neat to see kind of how this gets expanded out for some stuff. Okay, so we can't just call it player because there's two. Oh wait, we didn't call it player. Okay, it's orange and blue. I just short-term memory loss, I guess. So orange will have fill empty, and blue will be fill empty as well. Yeah, okay. So, how am I going to handle the role management for that? Because the way that I'm doing role assignment at the moment, let's crack it open here. So, game system, assign player roles. So we get player entities from the game system, gets it from the lobby. We then do team manager get IDs for game. And get IDs for game, just scroll up from it. Basically looks at all the roles and percent chance, fill empty. Yeah, okay. Exact role counts, percent chance rolls. So fill empty switches between them. I think fill empty. So the idea with fill empty is if we have innocent and we want one detective, we want two traitors, and everyone else is innocent, anyone beyond those first three role assignments are going to be innocent. But I think it should work fine while okay, so this is randomly selecting the fill empties. So I think we'll have a bool for that. Bool randomize fill empty. We won't default it to anything so that we explicitly say what the behavior is. So let's go ahead and instead of doing this random here, I'm gonna wrap it in a if not. So if it's random, we'll do that. I am going to nab that here. Actually, no. So result index is the one that I want. Oh, wait, no. It's been a hot minute since I've looked at this code, so there's a little bit of fidgeting going around with it. Alright, so if we're looking at what's happening here, we have an index that is getting an one of our random fill empty rolls. The fill empty rolls is a list up here that's populated manually of integers. So when we grab something from our fill empty roll in that array, we have to get a int value from it. And that int is an index back to the actual list of all of the roles that can be declared. So what we need to do is we need to insert index less than player count. Okay. How do I want to refactor this to allow for non-random attribution? Because we're gonna have to okay, int because we're looping, we're filling up the roles to assign array here from game roles, but we're filling it up from 0 to however many that we need. And while we do that, we need to be incrementing a number for that. I guess I can just put this whole implementation here and then have a completely separate implementation here. Int non-random ID, ID index. Equals 0. So we'll do that. Oops. Non-random ID index. We'll do non-random ID index plus plus and insert index plus plus. Which this gives us, okay, so we need to wrap this. Oh, what is it? There's a math function in Unity for mathf that lets you wrap a integer around a specific value that never goes over. Mathf dot seal not clamp, not exponent, not floor, not gamma. I don't know much about coding, to be honest, but I understand some of it based on working with Udon a tiny bit. I can learn some Udon from the vids and job. Oh, awesome! Happy to hear that. Yeah, I'm always glad to hear when people do actually watch through the videos to learn instead of picking out the one part that they need for whatever the thing is that they're doing and then going from there. Mathf repeat. This is what I was after. So mathf repeat is going to equal non-random index plus 1, and we'll repeat that around this is wait, I need to be grabbing it from here. Okay, alright. This was almost wrong. Alright, int index equals Okay, okay, okay. Alright, non-random index. Wrapping around fill empty roles dot length. Or dot count. What's this complaining about? Oh, this returns an int, whereas I need a no, I need an int, but this returns a float. So let's just cast that as an int. The one thing that's quite messy in Udon, though, is setting up networking for making objects synced. Like opening doors and such. Yeah, syncing is one of those things that there's so many ways that it can be done that you kind of have to learn a dozen ways of syncing things and then make a decision of which one to do. Like, say, do you want to sync the rotation of an object constantly, or do you want to sync the state of an animator that is moving that door? Like, it gets very complicated very quickly. Hilariously, doors are actually the big example of hard things to do in video games, or like to do them right. Excuse me. There's just so many ways that doors can be complicated. Like, do you need to interact with the doorknob? Do you need to interact with the whole door? Does it automatically open when you get near it? Does it stop NPCs from going through it? Can NPCs interact with the door to open it? Do they need to know that the door is accessible to go through? It gets to be something, that's for sure. Let's see. Randomize fillables. Okay. Alright. So now that we've got that set up, that should let us choose whether or not we want our fill rolls to be randomized or to be looped through. And looping through will just evenly distribute it across all the current players. At the very least, though, once it's set up, you can essentially just copy-paste the door Udon script. Yep, that is exactly one of the huge benefits of making code for Udon specifically, especially in comparison to triggers. When we were using SDK2, triggers weren't something that you could really easily and safely copy-paste around. They would get kind of weird and you'd have to fix a bunch of references in a bunch of different places. But with Udon, and with, well, C# in general in Unity, you have a bunch of fields that you can fill in, and basically a script or an Udon behavior is a preset of behaviors that that script will execute through at certain times. So once it's built, you're golden. It's the building process is just a little slow. All right, so both of these are set to fill empty. I'm going to hit play actually here, and I'm going to see if this works by default. So I should be orange. Okay, that makes sense. Now, if I go to game system, randomize fill rolls, I feel like that should be part of the team manager. Yeah, we'll do that. Public bool, randomize fill rolls. We'll go to our game system over here. We don't need this serialized. We do need to set that, so... public void set randomize roles pool value. Right, we'll just do that. Now we'll go to our post processor here, and let's go and do team manager. Okay, yeah. So we don't want that. We want to put randomized fill roles in the team manager. Right. Manager dot randomize team roles. Randomize fill roles equals helper dot randomize fill roles, and we'll put that at the bottom for sorting. So then this will be used via the game manager itself. So we'll do team manager dot randomize fill roles for that. Actually, since this is run on the team manager, and we're stealing that variable here, we don't actually need that as part of this call, or at all part of this. We can instead just grab that and stick it there. Excuse me. So I want this to be above the list. Let's go to our helper here, go right below team data. Drink some water while we're at it. All right, so I'm going to check randomize fill roles. What that's going to do is any fill empty is going to randomly be assigned to me. So this will work if we ever get blue. We got blue right away, perfect. Let's leave, re-enter, and try to get orange so that we can prove that it's working. Not just always giving me blue. Got blue again. Do it a couple times here. Just to verify everything's working. Okay, we got blue again. Am I just gonna roll heads every time? Is that what's going on here? I should really get on VRC tonight. About 2 months. Been obsessed with Baldur's Gate 3 again, and a game called Twilight Survivors Vampire Survivors. Oh, okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3, but I also had a lot of fun with the crew I was playing it with. I don't think I would enjoy it nearly as much if I were to play the game on myself, by myself. I know that's not the case for a lot of people. I know a lot of friends of mine that do really enjoy playing the game on their own, but I think I certainly would not have the same experience playing it by myself. All right. We have successfully randomly got orange after doing blue. So the random assignments for this are working. So let's go ahead and launch up our 4 VRChat clients and see if we get 2 blues and 2 oranges. Actually, I want this unchecked so that we always get 2 blues and 2 oranges. I do want to make sure Get IDs for game. Okay, yep, and this gets shuffled, and then it assigns everything. Right. Alright, build and test. I'll swap us back to our display capture so that we can see all 4 clients of VR chat. Are they all going to go down to the bottom left? Okay, I see. Let them get themselves figured out. Donk, 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 donk. Alright. Get everyone in here quick. Alright, there are 2 oranges and there's 2 blues. There we go. Role assignment successfully working for Team Deathmatch. Now, I'll be honest, I don't play a lot of competitive shooters. Is Team Deathmatch something where the first person who, like, once you die, you're out? Or does it run for, like, X amount of time, and when you die, you have, like, a respawn penalty, and then you get brought back? I don't actually know that. I just kind of assumed that it would do, people would die immediately and not be brought back. But if it's like Overwatch or the likes, then that would also make sense. I played solo, but I use mods. Currently playing as solo level in class, like the anime, I guess. Okay, yeah. Black Lilith, Mr. Raugen. Yes, welcome. You just missed us getting role assignments completely working now. So we have ones that are invisible to different people. We have ones that are visible to everyone. We have ones that are visible to only their team. And we just set up a evenly distributed team one. So there's orange team and there's blue team. So this will always evenly distribute to half of the people that's in here. And, well, if there's an odd number, I guess it'll pick blue first. So there'll be an extra blue player. Or I guess it'll be an orange one. Yeah, there'll be an extra orange player. Rewatch later. Yeah, no worries. We still have another hour. So let's go ahead and flesh this out a bit more. What were you asking about Respawn's deaths again, by the way? Yeah. So in a classic team deathmatch, is that one where you respawn on a timer and the game just goes for X amount of time or until X amount of points? Or once you're dead, are you dead? Because that's the... I don't play a lot of shooters, so I don't actually know. I just really like making this kind of stuff. Alright, I am entering sealed mode. Alright, so... if we... So we're going to actually have to start utilizing these role-specific features, such as spawns. So let's go ahead and handle that now. So team manager, game role spawns, immune system. So I need the entity for this. Usually you just respawn and it's based on the amount of points for the deciding factor who wins. Which is how Call of Duty does it, I think. Okay. I'm gonna write that down here quick. So that I can have that written down for when I actually do that later. Team deathmatch. Players have respawn state. Respawn delay. Game goes until points. All right. So, Ravi. Hello, welcome. We are getting some shenanigans done here with our game system stuff. And I think it's coming along quite well. So, Team Deathmatch game system. We need a respawning state for the player, where they're dead, but not fully dead. Where would that be? I've gone blind. Here we go. Armory entity. We need a entity state. So let's do a public enum entity state. Unset. We'll do not in game. What is winning condition? Points? Is there a time limit and limited rounds? I would like to have any of these as available options. I think for this one, I'll set it up to have like first team to 5 kills, and I just shoot the other players 3 times. I will say, respawns in competitive games are usually unique. As in, if an enemy player is near a respawn point, the game will instead choose a better respawn that's away from them. Yeah, that's fair. I'm not entirely sure if I'll have that set up, but we'll see. We'll see how that gets done. Let's see. Not in game. Alive. Respawning. And dead. Okay. Then alongside their role ID and team ID, we will have a entity state that we sync for that. The better near respawn will be set later. No, it will be set to start from it. Yeah, little customizations like that will come eventually. There's still a lot to do on that. I do think it's a good thing to note down. Respawn or enemies are not. Yeah, and I think just doing like a physics.check sphere would probably be a safe bet to do. I guess physics.sphere check. Yep, I'm doing that. So now that we have that, we should be able to look in Unity at one of our player prefabs once everything's compiled. There we go, and they have their state right here. We can select between any of these. Even though I don't understand your language, I know your tips are exceptional. They've helped me many times here in VRC. Keep up the amazing work. Probably only fully understand you one day if you speak in Portuguese. Brazil! But I'm here reacting to your stuff in my own way. Yeah, thank you. I do not know any Portuguese, unfortunately. My apologies. But happy to have you. What would be there we go. Oh, wait, no, it didn't paste the thing. It was supposed to have the flag as well. Ah, whatever. Close enough. I was trying to post the Brazilian flag, but I'm bad, I guess. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Well, happy to help. Let's get back to this here. Oh, my mouse is lagging. Never a good sign. Alright, we're good. Post-date update. So our armory player, or I guess our armory entity in particular, needs to do things when its state is set. I guess it should do things depending on set. So set role and team. I guess be prepare for game. So it will set the role and team, and then it'll do state equals a lot. Obrigado. There we go. Alright, state equals alive. I guess spawn entity is where it should set it to be alive. That would make more sense. Then we need to teleport entity to their spawn position, which we're going to do by getting the team manager get spawn. Okay, so we'll have a public transform get random spawn. This will take an int for role ID. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. Alright, so we're going to randomly grab one of our spawns here. So what are we gonna do? Let's take a transform from let's get the length of it quick. So int spawn length equals game role spawns role ID dot length. If spawn length equals 0, return null. Otherwise, we will do a int index of Unity engine random range between 0 and spawn length. Then we'll return, whoops, game role spawns role ID index. There we go. Hold on. Got me into coding too, and the coding topic is very simple. It got me into normal Unity development. Now I'm stepping back into VRC and its experience. I'm happy to help, but I've absolutely been feeling exactly what you're talking about right now. I've been doing a lot of development outside of Unity, outside of VRChat, just for standalone Unity, and it is something else to come back to it with the peculiarities of development for VRChat. It has been certainly an experience. Okay, so we need their role ID. Excuse me. No, player. If target local player respawn. I guess I'll do that right below the base one. Respawn and then return. Scriptable objects. I know. That being said, I still use scriptable objects in VRChat, just not how you're supposed to. So for example, all of the data for storing the teams that I have, let's go here. The team and roles and everything are on scriptable objects for team manager. Here we go. I have a mono behavior here with team data, which is team data, team deathmatch. So if I click this, see I have 2 teams and each one has a single role in it, which is orange and blue. And then this one has innocents, which is detective, innocent, and Mike. And traders just have a trader role on it. Oh, you watched that? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Listen dictionaries too. We need more data types. Yeah. Post process -10. Yep. Also very a very nice one to make use of for this. There's something that I have a post process scene on, but with some custom stuff. Problem is I have like 40 different scripts now, and I don't remember what it actually was. It's team manager, yeah. Team manager here. No, it's team manager helper that has it on it. Okay, so that is just a normal post processing. Never mind. Okay, that's just its own thing. I thought maybe I'd made a custom attribute or something for it, but no, it's just that one. Oh, one thing that I did make though, and I don't think I showed it on stream. If I go to my base armory behavior that I'm using here, these have 3 references in them: the game lobby, the team manager, and the base game system. These are both serialized field and find object. Find object is a component. Find object is an attribute that I made that is just kind of nothing. There's nothing in the actual attribute itself, but I have an attribute post-process scene that looks through all of the field data and stuff in the scene to find these attributes. And if the attribute is there, it does just like a find object of type for that attribute, for the variable that it's on, and then sets those values. So basically, if I there we go. If I go back here, having the find object attribute on this game lobby basically just says during post process scene, do a find object of type for setting this value. And that is speeding up a lot of things, that's for sure. By the way, I know some Brazilians love to trick English speakers into saying weird or even rude words in Portuguese just for laughs. Don't worry, I'm not one of those. Just here to support your awesome work. Thank you. Bro, we couldn't find out. Find object here as an attribute isn't a real thing. This one is one that I've made. Fortunately, my time is running out here. I have a commitment, and I'll have to leave. Good job there. Yeah, thank you. Obrigado. There we go. Have a good day. Good seeing ya. I did in fact Google whether or not obrigado was the right word to say before I said it out loud. All right. So right. Okay, so we're done looking at that. We can go to the armory entity. They get a random spawn at the start and teleport entity. Okay. Kill entity is state dot equals dead. Whoops, no, state equals dead. Spawn entity is where the teleport entity gets put. We're going to do on deserialization. In this, we're going to move our menu over here. I'm actually going to shrink this so it's a little bit easier for me to read. Okay, so we're going to check the state from this, I think. Yeah, okay. Load roll info, it's going to do that, but our thing here needs to, let's have these be public. I'll say the big help for Udon is the lack of static and singleton support. Singletons, yeah, would be pretty nice. That's one of the reasons that I'm using the a base class that I inherit from that has that find object on it, so that I can just assert that if I need a reference to these things, it'll just work. But it's definitely not the perfect solution. There's a few things that you can do, like use VRF assist. VRF assist can basically fake some singleton behavior, and it works really well. I use it in some personal projects, but almost everything that I do is for redistribution. And while I love VRF assist, I want people to have fewer dependencies they have to install, so I just don't use it in my public projects. Personal ones, it's great. Highly recommend. Static class support, static function support is in Udon, and that is nice. Basically, during the compile process, it just copies it to any Udon behavior that is running it. But we don't have static variables, and that's the big one that I miss. I could really do with some static variables. Alright, bring it a init. Not local return. Oh, that's an NPC. I want armory player. Alright, so set local, this is local player. Yep. I'm gonna do we need a state setter. So public void set state entity state equals state request serialization on the nope, underscore on deserialization. There we go. Do you have a schedule for when you're streaming, or is it whenever? Usually it is Tuesday, Thursdays at 4 p.m. CST. The caveat for that is I'll be streaming next Tuesday, but starting Wednesday next week, I'm taking essentially a week-long trip. So I will not be able to stream that Thursday or the following Tuesday, but I should be back at it the following Thursday. So I'll be here Tuesday, and then I'll be gone for a week, and then I'll be back on that Thursday. It's not the most easy thing to explain given the current schedule I have right now, but I am hypothetically streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Central Time. If you're interested, I actually have pings that I do in my Discord server for it. They go out as a notification every Tuesday, Thursday for that. You have to click the little subscribe thing. I'm in CST also. Hope you enjoyed the trip. Yeah, thank you. I very much will. I'm visiting my girlfriend for her birthday, and it's always nice to have an in-person section, an in-person time for a remote relationship. Alright, set state. We need to go to Armory player. Well, I guess init here will be... yeah. That's... set state... Oops. No, that's not what I want. I want Armory entities init. Oh, Armory entity does not yet override init. So we'll do init set state not in game. Actually, I think we'll change this to be idle, and then lobby, and then alive, respawning, and dead. I think that makes most sense. Actually, no. We'll drop the lobby state, because lobby, for what that means, is different depending on the implementation. So I'm not going to have an explicit state that the entity will be in for that. Yeah. Idle will just be like, you're not in game state. Okay. Let's see. So while we have that, we need our base game system to see start game, set game state, pre-round. This does assign player roles. Assign player roles pumps out all the roles that all the players need. And I'm trying to think if we should have prepare for game and spawn entity be the same thing. What brought about this piece of inspiration to do a combat system? So a combat system like, okay, to be fully honest, for the past 10 years, I have watched basically every episode of the Yogscast uploads for their crew playing Trouble in Terrorist Town on Gmod. I have never launched Gmod, but I find this crew playing such a moddable game with like a bunch of customizations for what they're doing to be very cool. And I've always wanted to build this kind of system, and I've actually had the name VRC Armory as a Unity project quite a few times before. But excuse me. But now that we have network event parameters, so you can do send custom network events to players and pass a parameter with it, it is much easier to actually build out this kind of system. Because originally, if you wanted any kind of networking declarative stuff on something, you needed to take ownership of a game object. And if two people were shooting one person, they were constantly fighting for ownership of the values that were being sent over, and a lot of stuff can be lost to doing that. And it was just an absolute mess. But combining send custom network event with parameters to the owner of a player object, well, suddenly we have a very robust and like functional system now. You can pass parameters and send custom event. So you can do it in send custom network event now. It's actually what I'm doing right here. So on our target entity, we're doing send custom network event to the owner. We're calling the name of prepare for game, and we're passing in the int for the role that they need and the int for their team ID. It is so nice to finally just be able to send a variable to someone specifically, instead of doing everything in some kind of manual sync system or relying on send custom network events to just have like 20 different events that you're calling to depending on which one it is. And there's also a hilarious thing with the new version where send custom network event is very fast. It used to be at least like a quarter second, but now you can functionally call it and have it arrive before a manual sync serialization arrives, if they were done at the same time. So it's now very quick. Hopefully using that for real. Yeah. I am very happy that we have gained the ability to arbitrarily send parameters to other players. It is been nice. Time to refactor. Yep. So yeah, with the new system, what you do is on your function, you need to give it the network callable attribute. In the future with SOBA, you won't, if you have a public event, it won't be networkable if it doesn't have this attribute. But for Udon compatibility, it just still doesn't call network stuff to a event that has an underscore at the beginning. Network callable can also have a limit in it. So if I say 10 is the max events per second. That doesn't block future events. It just is like, okay, we sent this event 10 times this second. We're going to queue the rest of these up and then send them 1 second later. I wish there was a way to ignore a queue, like just not have a queue, and if anything above that number goes through, it just like cancels it, doesn't send it. Like I would use that for Foley and sound effects all the time. But that's not currently how it's implemented. So the idea is I have one person own the object, and whoever shoot or interact with that object, you just tell the owner of that object to do it on his end. Yes, exactly. So when I shoot someone, so let me find the armory gun here. This populates the values, stuff like that. Fire a bullet. Okay. So this does a network fire for some sound effects, and then it calls run damage. Run damage is a raycast that looks for an armory entity. If it hits one, it locally plays a highlight event, but it also does a send custom network event of damage entity and then pass in the exact amount of damage that I did. And I could just tell someone, hey, you took 10 damage. And no ownership transfer needs to happen at all. It just works. What was I doing? Oh yeah, okay. So I have two functions here. One is prepare for game and then spawn entity. I think these should probably just be the same thing. I think that makes the most sense. This will help me buy a... yeah, that makes sense. I'm hoping VRChat makes use of Unity dots in the future. Well, dots is very complicated in order to make like a custom compiler for, but in terms of VRChat features, Fizzbones are already using dots. Well, they're using the burst compiler, which is the really fast compilation thing that dots uses. So we're already getting some of the performance benefits from it. I doubt we'll ever see anything from it in Udon or Soba, mostly because I don't think VRChat wants us having any direct control over how memory is handled for a lot of things, and dots is a very memory complicated thing. Udon too. Well, yeah, we're getting a bunch of stuff with Soba, but it's definitely not going to have it's not going to have dot support. That's for sure. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll do all this here. We'll drop the spawn entity event. We don't need that anymore. And yeah, we'll just wrap that into here. So states is alive, health set to max, teleport entity, serialize the stuff, runs on to serialization. Let's see, spawn agents. Let's see, so spawn entity. Because that was essentially useful. Yeah, okay. I'll keep it here. Yeah, I think they're also doing a kind of a combat thing, but a bit more realistic in how they handle their weapons and everything. Whereas my system is definitely designed a little bit more towards a arcadey feel for just popping into a VRChat game. Okay, so we have kill entity, and we want a public void clear entity. So what this is going to do, instead of setting it to clear, it'll set it to idle. And Hmm. Entity, how do I want to have response? We'll just do public virtual void respawn. No, respawn can be a thing like in-game. So respawn in-game, and we'll have a public virtual void respawn out of game. So I'll just call it respawn out of game. We'll go to our RMPC thing here. We'll do a serialized field of a private transform respawn point. And then for our armory player, we'll go and do respawn out of game will be local player respawn. Or I guess we can just do teleport entity null. Nah, we can just do this. That's fine. I've actually been having a lot of fun with nav mesh agents in a standalone project, so one that's not in VR chat. I actually haven't run into much that wouldn't be accessible to VR chat and what I'm doing for that right now, but I've definitely been enjoying making a just practice desktop game that's just kind of fun to sit down and play for a bit. Maybe one day I'll end up showing it off. So it's Armory NPC. We have their respawn point. On respawn. Respawn out of teleport entity respawn point. These events like 2 years ago, and well, we won't talk about it. Yeah, that's fair. Actually, probably just do. I'll just do that. Stable sheet was toggle. Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, that's fair. Alright, so you can respawn in game, you can respawn out of game. Clear entity. So we network callable. That calls respawn out of game. That is going to be something we call from our base system here for end game. We will do. I want to loop through all the players. So that gets player entities. Yeah, okay. Players, get player entities. That's what it's data list. Man, it's always weird coming back to code that you wrote like a week ago, and it's like, yep, I got nothing. Entities. That's a data list. We're going to. Okay, so what was it you're trying to do at the moment? I am trying to look at how my system handles getting all of the current players. So my player is a instance of a armory player script, which is a player object that locks onto the player and does stuff. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what would be the most performant way of doing that, and which of my systems that I built have the full thing for that. Because lobby IDs, there's the display list for that. We have an array of NPC entities which get pumped into it, and then all entities dict and all entities list is probably the stuff that I'll be doing for that. But if we do lobby player IDs, we probably just want to loop through all of the entities rather than... Yeah. So this will be get entities in lobby. Get names in lobby. Just renaming that for brevity. And is that done here? They're not here, so that should be safe. Okay, so I just need a getter for my all entities list. So a public data, pub data list. My autofill's a little slow today. All entities. All entities list. Alright, so if we go back to our base game system here, and we're trying to end the game, we need to loop through all of these. So, for int I, all int, oh wait, I need to actually store that. For all entities equals lobby, all entities. Do count off of that. our entity equals all entities I dot reference, and then we have to cast that. All right. Now we need to check their state. So if entity.state does not equal idle, so if this person was in the game to some extent, we need to do a network call for entity.send custom network event, target the owner, and we will do so to the name of armory entity dot clear player, clear entity. I guess release would be a good name for it. Release entity. There we go. That takes them completely out of the game system. So if we do that, role ID equals 0, team ID equals -1. Role ID should probably be -1. I just haven't tested doing that. It'll probably break something, but we should be handling unset by using -1 for a lot of things. Guess if we're doing that, we're gonna have to nab this. So when they get released, they get reset to there. We need to handle displaying their role information only when the game is actually active. I wasn't able to get the reference type to work for the data list. Are you storing a class in that? Yes. So reference works for anything that is a Unity engine object, such as a component, a game object, or anything like that. You can use it for like audio clips or like file type things, anything that inherits from Unity engine object and is exposed to work with VRC through Udon. Oh, you can really tell how much I was slouching by the fact that I've now sat up and my character was looking straight up. Alright. But yeah, reference is just your way of getting an object out of it. So armory entity when that gets done. So we need to switch based on there we go. So we'll switch based on the state. Instead of doing that, I'll just copy this because row new argument out of range exception isn't exposed. So we'll just do this. Or just from the screen to read the code. Yeah. Yeah. And always let me know if I need to zoom in or anything. I'm streaming at 1080p, but I do have a 4K monitor, so sometimes I don't realize when the text is just too small for people to actually see comfortably on stream. Alright, so we want to load the role info into the HUD menu for them, if they are alive, respawning, or dead. And we want to show menu false. This needs to be public. Show menu false when they are idle in the lobby or yet unset. I could have just... Yeah, no worries. Alright. We just did a lot of code. Let's figure out if anyone does anything. We'll do a quick sanity check here in the editor. We're going to play and then pressing that button, just to make sure nothing immediately works. If I look up, I don't have anything visible. Go in here, click that. I respawn here, because I started, and I have the role orange. Alright. Now I need an end game button, which I do not have yet. End game button. End game. Oh wait, this is the start game script. I need the... I guess I'll have to make one. Demo end game. We go to the demo start game, basically get the same thing from that. But swap this around. Base armory behavior. Compile! Please! Give me my stuff. Oh, there we go. So, end game only callable by the owner. Same start game. We'll just do that for here. So, let's go ahead and actually swap out the script for this. End game. Now that we have a start and end, I will give the left one a green material and the right one a red material. New game, clear set. Alright. Let's reload our stuff that's actually still open. So we'll give that a sec to compile and build. And we're getting here towards the end. We don't have anything playable. Which is kind of what I was hoping to get, but I also was planning on streaming Tuesday, but didn't end up getting it in this week. But we do have a start and end, which is quite functional to me. So long as it actually works. Put everyone in. Start game. Alright. We have distributed everyone's teams. Everyone looks correct. And end the game. Everyone is reset, and nobody has name tags anymore. Let's have everyone get back in. We cannot start the game again. That's probably just a check that's happening somewhere. So, start game only runs if the game state is lobby. I guess if the game state is called lobby, I think it's probably a good idea to call idle lobby. Yeah. Okay, so... Oh, endgame doesn't change the game state. Okay, yep, that's what I missed. So that'll just be that there. Does VRC have a latency problem when it comes to their networking, or is it pretty decent? As long as you're being careful, it's pretty alright. If you're just sending a few things here and there, it's basically instant. But you can clog up the networking pretty quick. If you're sending a lot of data back and forth, especially through like manual serialization of variables on a script or from send custom network event, you can definitely hit a network struggling state for your world in general, or at least like for that instance, and then everything has to kind of eventually settle. So the speed itself is perfectly fine, but you can definitely overrun it pretty quickly. It's like a one-lane highway. You can go pretty quickly, but you have to be careful with your throughput. They have some pretty good documentation for explaining where those limits are and stuff. One example is you can only do send custom network event with so much data. So if you have like a 4,000 line string in there, it will send, but in the back end, they'll split it into multiple separate events that will be sent over time and then received on the user's case, pieced back together and then run. The reason that that's important is because the network callable attribute by default can only send 5 events per second. That's the default value for the network callable function. And if yours gets above 5, well, it's going to send the first 5 versions of that that function over, and then it'll send the rest of the data 1 second later, and then it'll piece it together. For the most part, that's not something you have to worry about, but always err on the side of caution. For example, if you know that you have a number that's only ever going to be between 0 and 100, use a byte instead of an int. Just like things like that. Cutting back on excess networking anywhere that you can is always going to be beneficial. Try to compress data before sending. Yeah, basically. If the shorter stuff that you can send, the better. I really like using enums, and enums. Let's find something. Armory entity. Yeah. So entity state here by default, an enum is a int. So enums basically inherit from an integer and are wrappers from that. But you can call it a byte, and Udon will compile this as a byte. Now, I've had a little bit of issues with the serialization on that one, so while this is technically better, I've just had like some issue in the past that I don't remember what it was, and the issue went away when I stopped syncing a byte that was an enum. I don't know if it's still an issue. It's just a thing that I ran into once, and just I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just not going to have that be an issue again. But there's a few variable types that have like a set data weight to them. Like say a string will always have a wrapper, like this amount of networking data at all times, even if it's an empty string. Stuff like that. The networking pages on VRChat's documentation actually go into a lot of detail about this if you're ever looking to learn more about it. Alright, so since we're setting the game state back to lobby here, that should be good. Yeah, I think our base game system should probably only sync one thing, and that's the server time on game start. So, serialized field, food on synced. I guess we are at the hour. So I'll go ahead and comment this out, put this on a to-do. Add game start time for handling in-game events or inherited variants. All right. Well, all things considered, we didn't have a lot of visible, like I don't really have much for accomplishments to show off on like Twitter posts or something, but this does largely just work with assigning new roles and everything. This specific one is a little borked, but if I were to build and reload here, it would be perfectly fine. But yeah, I'll be working on this again on Tuesday, and I might get a little bit of work done here and there. I'm going to be pretty busy this weekend, so there probably won't be any major advancements off screen unlike last time. But yeah, I'm happy to see everything is largely working. Let's have everyone run in quick. Yeah. Everyone is like properly assigned. I can go and end the game. Everyone resets, loses their highlights. We go back in and we start, and everyone's good again. All right, so we can properly start and end the game states. Perfect. That is a great place to leave off for today. It was great having everyone. Yeah, we actually had some good chats as well throughout everything. So, yeah, thanks for everyone coming by. Again, my schedule next week is going to be a bit weird. I will be here Tuesday. I won't be here Thursday. I won't be here the next Tuesday, but I will be there the next Thursday. If that makes any sense. But yeah, it was great seeing everyone, and look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Take care and have a good day.